What up, everyone? Back with another video. This time we got some nerdy news. Big week for announcements. A lot of things come up this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about it a little bit. I'll bring up the topic, give a quick little opinion on it, and then you go in the comments and give your little opinion on it. And that's how this works. A little back and forth discussion. And that's what makes this fun. So, let's start off with the media. And for once, I'm going to talk about video games. First off, today was the official release of Sora in Smash Bros. And I'm super excited. He was my number one choice since Smash has come out. Everyone's wanted him. He's been very popular. Some people don't like him so much, but very exciting, and he's really fun to play as. And he's definitely a broken character, so he's really good right off the bat. But I'm really excited to have him in it. But it's a bittersweet thing because he is the last and final character for Smash, which is so sad for so many reasons. One, because it's just a great game and I love it. Two, because it's almost kind of shot itself in the foot in relation to sequels and things like that. There's always been one game after another, and I'm sure they'll try to do a sequel to this one, but how are they ever going to live up to this? I don't see how they could ever outdo the roster and things like that, so it just seems like it's going to be the greatest game ever that just kind of lives and dies with that, and they'll try to do it over again, but it'll never be as good. So, very, very bittersweet, and it's sad to see the game end, but very excited to see Sora in it. Speaking of Smash, its predecessor, supposedly, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl came out last week, 1 week before Sora was released. That came out the day he was announced, and this is supposedly supposed to take Smash Bros. Place, because from supposedly a lot of people that played Melee are the developers of this game, so everyone had very high hopes for it, and I bought it, and I played it, and it is rough. Like, really rough. People were saying it's like a beta, but I'm saying it's more like an alpha. As in, the game kind of seems like something they would show to investors to try to get funding to start the game, and then they build a game from that. It's almost like a demo, because it's very, very, very bare bones. Now, the developers have gone back and forth saying, hey, we promise all these things, and that all sounds nice, but that's all in theory. If they don't make enough money, we don't get anything. So all these promises they're making is only contingent on if they get enough money to do those things. Now, there is some DLC they already are working on, so we'll get it no matter what because it's already paid for. But development past that is a big what if. Now, a lot of people do seem to like it, and it does show really good potential, which is great. A lot of people have related it back to the original Smash Bros. Game, which is fine, but like, I don't want to wait 20 years for this game to get good. I don't have time for that. It needs to be a little bit better now. And it's just very choppy. It looks fine visually, but there's just a lot of work that it needs. But again, shows great potential, so it can be something very, very good. It could, if it keeps getting funding and keeps showing support, then this could be something very epic down the line. But it's not quite there yet. But let me know your thoughts on it. Are you loving the game? Did you hate it? Because I'm very curious to see what other people think and feel about that game as well. But I'm still holding out hope for some kind of Marvel vs. Capcom thing. There's been so many rumors lately of either a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 revival or a Marvel vs. Capcom 4, or just a new Marvel game in general. It has to be one of those three. Something has to happen. There isn't just going to be a no Marvel fighter game out there. Eventually, someone's going to make one. I'm just holding out hope that it's Marvel vs. Capcom because I would be so excited to get back into like a really good fighting game again because I'm having trouble getting into the Nickelodeon Brawl. I need something that's really high budget and really high quality. So I'm holding out hope for something like that, but with each passing day, it gets bleaker and bleaker. So, on to more media. Let's talk about some movies. This week, the past weekend was DC Fandome. Now, this is a good thing. They've done this before, so this isn't a first-time thing, and I think they're going to do it every year. Just like Disney has their, can't think of the name, it's same situation where it's a convention, D23, where they announce all their shit, that's basically Marvel, and so DC does their DC Fandome. Really cool to get people hyped for things coming up, but, I'm trying to be excited for it. I really do want DC to really gain some traction and get good. I really do. Even though I'm not a huge DC fan, I want them to do good. I want them to build their extended universe. I really want them to, like, get traction and really start building on it so that way you get excited for the movies. Because right now it's just such a mess. It's all over the place with multiple actors and timelines and so it's just all over the place. So it's hard to get super excited for certain things, but, things like this help. Starting off, we actually got an official The Batman trailer. We had a teaser before, which is cool. Now we have an actual trailer, and now we see Robert Pattinson in action, and he looks a little weird. It's hard to get a full opinion of him. He looks a little bit awkward, and when he talks, it doesn't really feel like Batman, but it's hard to judge based on these like short little clips. So he doesn't look great as Batman, but I'm not going to judge. I'll wait to see the movie. Other than that, again, a little hard to be super excited for it because there's a lot of things that don't look super great, but the one thing I can say, it looks good visually. And what I mean by visually, I mean the cinematography, like the color balancing, all that, it looks very visually pleasing. So it looks really cool just based on that. And some of the little cutscenes they show just look really well done. Now we'll just have to see if Robert Pattinson actually pulls it off as far as acting and stuff like that. And we know, I think it was Colin Firth, is that who's Penguin? He looks like he's doing a great job, so no complaints there. And then Zoe Kravitz, is that who is Catwoman? I may be getting the names wrong, hopefully I'm not. But she looks like okay acting-wise, and we'll kind of see where it goes. But the storyline seems pretty legit, and the guy they cast as Riddler was one of my suggestions. I totally said he should be Riddler, because he just definitely has that creepy vibe. I forget the actor's name, but he always plays these really creepy characters. So I'm glad they cast him. I think he'll be fantastic at it. I think he will definitely be like the star of the film, in my personal opinion. So, looks cool, but we'll kind of, it's hard to be too excited. We'll see where that goes from there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Next, we got the Black Adam trailer. Finally, fucking finally, The Rock has been teasing us about this for literally, like, I think a decade now. Like, seriously, like 10 years from the first time he made a tweet about that he got hired for it, and it's just been years and years and years. Like, god damn, that took a long fucking time. But we finally got it. So, and it looks cool. It looks legit. I don't know a ton about the character. I know he's from the Shazam universe. I know all of that. It'll be very interesting to see where they go with this movie, because it's a straight up villain from what I know, and it could go either direction. I don't know if he ends up being a hero or not, so it looks potentially cool, but it's just a teaser. You can tell very little from that. So far, it looks cool, looks exciting, but we'll see what the story ends up being. I feel like it's kind of hard to make a movie about a villain that's not a like becoming. I can't think of the fucking word. That's not like a backstory. That's not origin story. So it's hard to make a villain movie that's not an origin story. Usually when you make a villain movie, it's the origin of that villain, how they became to be that villain. So now we're starting from him already having his past, so it seems like a very odd starting point. So I'm kind of like keeping my reserves on too much excitement for that. But we'll see what they do with that. Next, we got the Flash movie trailer, and other than a very awkward introduction by Ezra Miller, very uncomfortable and awkward, other than that, it looks very cool. And he said they couldn't even do a teaser or a trailer, but they did this sneak peek, which was honestly more than a trailer. It was like part of the whole story. I can't help but be very excited for this, just based on the fact that they have Michael Keaton Batman. I can't help but be excited for that. The movie could be absolute shit, and the fact that Michael Keaton's in there for 5 seconds, I'll go see it just for that. That gets me so excited to see him back in action as Batman. That's so cool. He was my favorite Batman. I know everyone has their favorites. He was my favorite. He was the original Michael Keaton Batman. Always going to be my favorite. So excited to see that. And Ezra Miller, I thought he did a good job as the Flash. Like, I liked him in Justice League, and he was kind of funny. So I don't mind him as an actor. He seems legit as an actor. So I have faith in his acting ability. But as far as the story goes, who knows? It's going to be a lot of time travel stuff. It's very hard to say at this point where it's going to go. And we're not going to get the movie for a long time. But what we saw, little bits and pieces, I'm very excited. Probably most excited for that than anything else, because it could just go anywhere. It's like the Spider-Verse movies. Anything can happen. Very, very exciting. So there's that. And yeah, like I said in the beginning, I want the DCEU to really get their shit together and really get cohesive and really start building on each other, because that's what gains excitement. Knowing that each movie you watch leads to something else. It connects like a puzzle. Each movie you watch is a different puzzle piece that creates this big, grand picture. And it's not like you need that. Movies should be enjoyable on their own. Yes, absolutely, you're correct on that. But it just adds to the excitement to have a connecting story overall. So I hope they figure it out and hope they get their heads out of their asses and get on the straight and narrow and finally make that happen. Last thing in the media, we had the trailer for the Stranger Things Season 4. And this I have very mixed feelings about, because the Stranger Things is actually one of the few shows I'm up to date on. I've watched them all. The first season was good. Second season was okay. It was pretty much a repeat of the first season. And the third season was shit. I hated that third season. It was so stupid. With the kids running around in the naval base, and just, it was like, what is this, fucking Scooby-Doo? Like, it was so stupid. It was ridiculous. I hated it. They took a hard nosedive, and it was pretty serious show, and then it just went like full-on comedy, kids TV stuff, and it's like, good God, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, please don't. So season 4 looks cool in the trailers, but I really hope they got some really negative feedback from season 3 and are going to go far away from that route, because it sucks so much. It was terrible. So here's to hoping that they, again, pull their heads out of their asses and go the right direction and stick to the more serious tone, because that was much better off, much better thing to do. All right, that's all for the media. Now let's talk about some collectibles. So, right off the bat, New York Comic Con happened, and I don't have a ton to say about it. Funko usually has some cool announcements, but I looked at all their exclusives, and honestly, I didn't even try to buy any of them, because none of them were really great. They were all very average. Nothing stood out as special to me at all, so I didn't even attempt to buy anything. Now, you'll have to let me know in the comments if there was anything, not from Funko, that you saw that was exciting. It's always hard to tell. There's so much that goes on at these conventions. If there were any other companies that had some really cool exclusives, because from what I saw, I really didn't see anything, but I'd be shocked if there wasn't something. So I'm guessing I just missed something. So please, in the comments, let me know what you thought was cool, because I'm very curious what else was happening. And if you didn't know, there is an actual physical Comic-Con happening here in San Diego in November on Thanksgiving weekend, which I might go to. I might potentially have the chance to go to. But it's very up in the air what it is. No one really knows, because all the companies really sold their exclusives. I don't know if they secretly held some off because they knew this convention was happening. It's all very last minute, but it's going to be at the San Diego Convention Center. It's going to be a physical one. Not really any famous people, very little on panels, just mostly like products and things like that. So hopefully there are some companies that save some exclusives to sell there. Otherwise, it's just going to be very lackluster. But when that day comes, and if I do get the chance to go, I'll let you know all about it. But yeah, that'll be Thanksgiving weekend, so something to kind of look forward to. Other than that, some other things that have come out recently. I don't know when they came out, but SuperImpulse. I'm a big fan of this company. They've done the world's smallest figures. I did a separate video on the Ninja Turtles one, on this company in general, so if I remember, I'll put the link in the description. But this company does really cool stuff. They basically take toys and make them as tiny as possible, and they sell them in little packages. And they've done action figures. They did some horror ones. They did Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, these tiny little card figures. And I love that. I love tiny things. The tinier, the better. And it's so cool that they made these little action figures, and they're actually posable. Fantastic. So they just released some new figures. They have some Garbage Pail Kids. They have some from Hello Kitty. They also have Richard Simmons and Bob, the painter guy. I forget his last name, which is very random, but still really cool. So I'm glad that they're gaining traction, and I'm glad they're putting out more series. These figures aren't particularly valuable in any way, and I don't think they'll ever be worth anything, but they're very, very fun to collect, and honestly kind of fun to play with. And they're very cheap, too. They're only like $5 or $6 for most of these figures, which is very much worth it. So if you haven't checked out this company, please do. If you're a fan of action figures and tiny collectibles, these guys are great, and you can get them pretty much anywhere. You get them like Target and stuff like that. But these new series look really cool, so yeah, check them out. Next, one thing from Kotobukiya is a Venom statue. This is called the Venom Renewal Edition, and this looks pretty great. This looks of statue quality, and it's only $95. I'm guessing it's not huge, but they really do nice quality stuff. It's always made from PVC, but it's so nice looking, it almost looks like resin because the quality is so high. So every once in a while, they'll do like a really awesome one, and you get something of statue quality for a much cheaper price. And I'm a big fan of Venom, and with the movie that just came out, this is something you should definitely check out and probably pre-order, because I'm assuming it's going to sell out considering how popular that character is. Next, we got some action figures from the Marvel Legends Retro series. Normally, I'm almost completely against action figures, just rarely ever collect them. I don't play with action figures. I don't think they look very good to collect. But this series, I have one right here, and they're up here too. This series I actually liked. I actually like these figures because they're the retro style. They look like the original 90s action figures, and I like that. So I bought one many years ago and liked it, and eventually ended up collecting them all. They did Avengers, X-Men, and now they're doing Spider-Man ones, and I kind of thought they had stopped doing them because they switched to the like 3/4 inch ones, those tiny ones, which I hate. But they just announced they're doing another Spider-Man set, and they got some cool ones in here. They got Spider-Man 2099 coming out, and they got the Symbiote Spider-Man, Hobgoblin, Shocker, and they also have the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, and they have Hammerhead, which is super fucking weird. They haven't done Venom or Carnage, but they're doing Hammerhead. Okay, sure. But I really like these ones. These are probably the only action figures I'll ever collect, so I hope they do more series, because there's a ton of characters they haven't done, not just from Spider-Man, from X-Men and Avengers as well. So I hope they continue this series, because they're actually really high quality, and I think there's something for everyone. They're not super expensive. They're usually like $20 to $30 depending on where you get them from, and they're very well done. They're very nicely displayed. The box artwork's very nicely done. And if you are in the playing mood and you did want to play with them, you can take them out. There's a ton of articulation and accessories, so I think this is a really great series and the only action figures I'll ever buy. What else? Oh, one last thing. Normally I don't care too much about Funko's announcements, but they just announced some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Pop figures, and I really like that series. I actually have all of them over there. They haven't done the third Egyptian god for some reason. I'm assuming he's coming eventually. But I got Obelisk and Slifer, and I got all the original ones. I really like those. And the reason I was excited for this new announcement is because they have my favorite character in there, and that's the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. That was by far my favorite monster. Pegasus was always my favorite character, and I loved all the Toon monsters. Blue Eyes Toon Dragon was my favorite character, but you never see him anywhere. You see Blue Eyes, but you never see Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. He just wasn't that popular. He was only in like one episode, so I'm not that surprised. But I'm so excited because they just announced a pop figure for it, and they even have a little Toon World book in there, and he looks fantastic, and I'm super excited for that. And they also have Atem, the Pharaoh Yugi, on the throne, so that'll be a big one. So very, very excited for that. So if you are a fan of the traditional, original series run of Yu-Gi-Oh! And you like the previous pop figures, this series is absolutely exciting. Not coming out till like March or April next year, so very, very far in the future. But when they do come, I don't think any of them are exclusive, so they'll be very cheap and easy to get. But they look fantastic. Alright, that's it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Those are the cool things that have happened and announced this week. Next week, we'll probably do some boxes. There aren't going to be any movies for a little while. I think the next one worth reviewing is Eternals, which I believe is in like mid-November. So other than that, we'll do some boxes. I'll do some individual box videos, and we'll do the monthly unboxing. And other than that, not too much going on, not too much to look forward to. I'll find something to make a video about. So thank you all for watching and supporting. Thank you in advance for all the people that do comment and weigh in and get the discussion going. It's very much appreciated. I love talking to you all. I love responding to your comments. It's a great thing to have. So once again, see you on the next video. Love you all. Peace.